I will be continuing from here on. All right. Did someone say someone? Okay. So today's agenda. Today I would be introducing you to UI5, and then I would be taking care of the. We had already a small introduction to SAP UI5 and Fiori, but we will do a deep down into it. Then we would try and understand SAP UI5 and the SAP Fiori architecture. Sorry, we will also try to find out what is exactly the difference between SAP UI5 and Fiori. Most of the people confuse the two, so I wanted to be clear at the beginning even only. Then we would look at the development process for this, for the SAP Fiori or SAP UI5. It's all one and the same thing. Then a few software components overview, which is from the SAP point of view. When you are installing or implementing SAP UI5 or Fiori, you would need to take care of these components. And then installation of different components. Installation of different components probably we'll take care of in another session, but right now I want to cover the first 5 pointers here. So what exactly is SAP UI5? SAP UI5 is nothing but a framework, a library made up of HTML5 and HTML5 plus JavaScript plus CSS. The SAP UI5 stands for SAP UI Development Toolkit for HTML5. It was earlier code named Phoenix, so SAP is also on the same line, working on the same lines as Google and others who have a different code name when the project is inside, and when they expose it outside of the company, then they have a different name. So earlier, when it was earlier inside SAP, it was code named Phoenix, and then as soon as they launched it outside it, they named it as SAP UI5 or UI5. The SAP HTML5 toolkit provides us lightweight business UIs for multiple platforms. We have already done this, but just for the benefit of those who were not able to attend it yesterday, SAP UI5 toolkit lets us code once, and if you have coded once, your code can work on any screen, any device. That's what we mean by device agnostic or screen agnostic, and also device agnostic and also screen agnostic. What does that mean? It means that if you have coded once, your code, your applications, your apps will work on your mobile phone, your smartphones, and your tablets, and your desktops or laptops with equal ease. So there is a definite edge to SAP UI5 if you are coding for any enterprise and which is already in SAP. Then it's better that you now start coding in SAP UI5. It has already got around 181 controls, which we had discussed yesterday. I have already shown you there are around 181 controls which have been released by SAP for SAP UI5 in the market. You can use all of these controls. When I say control, what do you mean? What do I mean by control? Control means a button. Control can mean a table. Control can also mean a date input box, anything like that, which is on your screen is called a control. Anything which is helps in layouting and which helps in displaying your data on the which helps in displaying the data on the screen is a control. Although some controls are actually a bundle of other controls, but let's keep it to a simple definition. Controls are something with which you can build your layout. The SAP UI5 comes with inbuilt theming and branding tool. It's called the theme editor. So if you Google, or I can Google for you right now. So if I Google and see theme editor, This is one of the best tools. Oops, sorry. This is the yeah yeah UI theme designer. This is one of the best tools that has been provided by SAP to customize the SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori landscape or look and feel. You can do a lot of stuff with this theme designer. You can change the look and feel. You can change the outlook. You can change, sorry, not outlook. When I say outlook, I mean the uh, view of view of an app, not the Microsoft Outlook. So there's a lot of push behind this SAP UI5 technology from SAP itself. Then there is a lot more efficient and performance-related push in SAP UI5. So SAP UI5 has come, has uh, is the next version, is the next advanced version of the WebDen Pro. If you guys have any way they worked on WebDen Pro, you will find SAP UI5 way different from it and way faster and way more elegant than using than seeing the WebDen Pro screens. That's the whole SAP UI5 push from SAP. As I already told you, this is any device, any screen. So you code once, and this is how your screen would look like in a desktop machine or a laptop machine. And on the right-hand side, you will have your uh, mobile machine. It has special controls for mobile. You can control. You can create your app targeted only for mobile. You can create your app only targeted for desktop or laptop, and you can target both of them at the same time. It depends on you. How do you want to implement or how do you want to create your apps? Since this is JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, you can design your screen any which way you want. The screen is actually a blank canvas. This was not earlier the case when you used to have SAP GUI. I'm not sure if you have seen SAP GUI, but let me just show you how did the SAP GUI looked like, so that we are on the same page. So this is a typical SAP GUI screen. So earlier what used to happen before SAP UI5 was that you were given that this is how your screen would look like. You cannot really change anything in there, but right now you can create your change as you want. Oh, this is a web editor in Eclipse, but this is one of the typical, sorry, oops, my mistake. This is one of the typical GUI screens. So the most of the SAP's GUIs always look the same. This is posted inside a WebDen Pro, but almost every screen looks like this SAP GUI screen. Also, if you have worked in WebDen Pro or CRM or SRM for that matter of say, whenever you clicked on a button, whenever you clicked on, for example, any exit or anything like this button, there was a circle or a time dimension that you went into, and it took its own sweet time, and then it came back, and that was really horrible for the people, for the end user, and that's why there was a lot of criticism for these kinds of SAP GUI screens, but people still used SAP GUI because SAP provided the best of the functionality in enterprise. It still is the best business software across the world. It still is used by most of the Fortune 500 companies, and that's why, because there was multi-billion dollars of investment that has gone into this SAP's software, and that's why people are not really inclined to move to a new software or change to a new software just because of user experience. And now with SAP UI5, SAP is putting user experience also in the forefront, and that's where SAP UI5 comes into the picture. So now, the whole point of showing you these screens was that earlier you had this set paradigm of screens that you would have a table and you would have some buttons on the top, and these buttons would look like this and that, and that's almost always stuck. But now you can create your own JavaScript or your own code, your own controls. You can use SAP's controls also. There's no one stopping you from changing the design paradigm. That's the point of SAP UI5. Oops. Okay, there was an error. Let me start that screen again. Okay. So that was about designing the screens, the flexibility that you would get into in SAP UI5. It also supports RIA, like client-side features. For example, now the main offerings of SAP UI5 is that it provides you a different client-side and different server-side things for components. For example, for client-side, it provides you the control libraries which are based in JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And also nowadays it also has created its own font. SAP UI5 has its own font. So if you look on SAP font or SAP icons font, it is a new font in itself, which is provided for client side. Then the code is always in JavaScript, and it also provides some test suites in as HTML or JavaScript files. The server side, which is currently optional, is provided as application development tools in Eclipse. Right now, things are changing. Things are being moved to Web IDE, so SAP does not recommend using Eclipse anymore. All of the development of our SAP UI5, SAP HANA, SAP Fiori, everything is being done in Web IDE, and we would be doing Web IDE. Don't worry about that. Then there's resource handling for Java and ABAP, and also a theme generator that we have already discussed. Theme designer is now called theme editor. This is the same thing which we just saw a few seconds ago. Any questions? No questions? Okay. So currently the SAP UI5 supports all of these mainstream browsers, but with an exception of IE8, and I have seen SAP UI5 working in IE8, IE9, and IE10, but it's pathetic actually, to say the least. They don't really gel. IE8 and 9 don't really work with SAP UI5 because they don't really work with HTML5. It's not a fault with the SAP UI5. It is a fault with the IE, because IE has not started supporting HTML5 in versions 8 and 9, and that's why it is not really recommended to use IE8 or 9. I would also recommend that you should be using IE10, actually IE11 and above. That would be the that should be the target for every customer to be honest further. Even now, Microsoft has actually changed their own browser. They are working on Microsoft Edge. I'm not sure if you have seen, but it is available in Windows 10, and I fortunately have it. So this is the Edge browser, which is way faster than IE. And I'm not sure if you can see that this is way faster than IE. So if I open up anything here, this is way faster than IE, and even in sometimes it's faster than Google also. So I generally now use Microsoft Edge. Okay, Safari is for Macintosh or iOS or iPads. If you have any Apple machines, then you would be using Safari itself. Any questions? Okay, I'll go further then. Now, talking about SAP Ui5 architecture. SAP Ui5 architecture is also the baseline architecture for SAP Fiori because SAP Fiori is based on top of the SAP Ui5. The major architecture or the paradigm behind SAP Ui5 is model view controller. I just touched upon it yesterday, but today I will go deep into it. So let me try and open up my workhorse. I generally use Sublime Text as a text editor, and this is also generally my workhorse. So, SAP Fiori. That's better. Okay, so the architecture or MVC. Whenever I say SAP Ui5 or SAP Fiori, please do understand I am using them interchangeably. I'm not specifically saying SAP Fiori or SAP Ui5. If I have anything to say specific for SAP Ui5 or SAP Fiori, I will mention that. But right now, I would be using them interchangeably. So what exactly is MVC? MVC is not really proprietary of the SAP. It is a paradigm of coding from the web world. Well, actually, it is not even from the web world. It is just a paradigm of code, and it is one of the most popular paradigm. Why? Although Facebook is against it, but we are not talking about Facebook right now. So why is it most popular? So what happens to your code is once you follow the model view and controller paradigm, your code is automatically structured in different layers. It's a lot more sustainable and extendable. So instead of structured, I would say modular. But what does model view and controller mean? I'm going to spend some time on this because this is the base, this is the core of core architecture or core paradigm of SAP Ui5, and you should know what's going on here. Okay. So let's start with a view. View is the view layer or anything which is being presented to you on your screen is the view screen layout. So this view component of MVC does the screen layouting. It includes all the controls on your screen. Okay. Model in turn controls model component encompasses, yeah, that's better, encompasses the all the data that is being shown slash not shown on the view. Anything that has to do with the data sorry, has to do with the model component of the MVC architecture. Then there is the controller. What does controller do? Controller controls the whole flow of the data, and in turn controls the layout. Does that make sense? So view is the one which has every control on the window is a part of the view. This view is controlled by the data, and it shows the data which is present in the model component. Model component in turn is controlled by the controller, and so the sorry, the brains of the app would be the controller. The body of the app would be the view. Body as in, I'm comparing to a physical human being right now. So the controller would be the brain of the app. View would be the the body of the app, and model would be the blood that is being passed through here and there. Or the data, well, actually nerve data that is being passed. Yeah, that's better. Okay, any questions? Anything that you have not understood in MVC? MVC is very important to understand, and that's why I'm stressing it a bit more. Okay, I don't see any questions coming up, so I will move further. Then this is the technical architecture of UI5 and Fiori. At the lower, at the starting bottom end is SAP HANA, which may act as a database or which may act as a server also. Earlier, SAP tried to build. SAP was only building it as a database, but now SAP has extended its services to make it a platform on its own. So it will be competing in future with NetWeaver. Sorry, NetWeaver platform. So if SAP HANA is working as a database, then it would be under the SAP backend server, which would be again a NetWeaver. Then there can also be another front-end server that would be also NetWeaver, but it would have the gateway and plus the SAP Ui5 component installed. Most of the people do not really know that SAP already has a server by the name of SAP Web Dispatcher, and that's where this Web Dispatcher is coming in, reverse proxy SAP Web Dispatcher. For running any web app on the world, you need web servers. So what is a web server first? So web server is a program that uses HTTP to serve the files from the that form web pages to the users. So anything that is hosted, whenever you talk about hosting, you are actually hosting on a web server. You are putting your files on a web server, and that web server is actually placing your or catering to the request of the user. So this is one of the things that you should know. Well, if it comes someday. Yeah. So this in between is the web server, and this is client, or this is you or me who's trying to access Google or any other web page on the world, and this is the web server, which then it is also talking about SAP backend. I did not actually search for SAP web server, but yes. So what I'm trying to say is this in between is the web server. Then it talks to the server or talks to the machine or the place where you have put your files on in the server, and those files are picked up from there and then shown to the client or the user. That's the that server, that machine in between is called the web server. Earlier, most of the people are who are in the development world or who are in the web world, who have worked in the web world, know about servers like Tomcat or Apache, and a lot of people are also aware of the IIS server, which is the web server from Microsoft. And there are plenty of other servers like my favorite is the Nginx one. I use it for my local server. That's the best one that I could find, but each to each his own. So it's your wish which one you want to use for your development. So I was talking about web server. On top of the web server sends you the data or sends the user the data, and that can be shown in the HTML5 browser or desktop browser or mobile browser. Instead of having all this front end, back end, a client could also or a customer could also ask to install SAP HANA Extended Application Services, and all would be in one, can be turned to be in one single box. Other way around this architecture would be that this front end and the backend server are combined into one. That is also possible. That's called that's not called hub deployment. This is called hub deployment, but that is called simple deployment. The same thing in a little more deep down way, you will find this here. So the application or the end user, application client or the end user or the tester is here, and then you have the SAP Ui5 application, which is a web browser. The web browser already contains the SAP Ui5 runtime. As soon as you ask for, so maybe I could show you this so that you could remember this when you are working. So let's say I have a demo kit of SAP Ui5. So that's SAP Ui5. And I will also open up the debugger control for Chrome. Don't worry about it. We will go into detail about debuggers and we'll see what's going on. I just want to show you if I open up SAP Ui5, what happens. So if I open up the SAP Ui5 demo kit, which is actually based in SAP Ui5 framework itself. So now, yeah, so you should already have SAP SAP-UI core.js. This is the core or the runtime environment which we are seeing here. So this code, if you are able to see my screen, let me, oops, my mistake, let me go up. Where was I? This is the place. Okay, I am here. And now let me zoom in. Okay. So this is the runtime, and this SAPI.core.js is the runtime that I am talking about here. Okay. I hope that this picture would give you a headway and would keep you updated, or let's say would remind you always of the Ui5 runtime that is being loaded. So if this SAPI core.js is not loaded, then your app will not work. Then this is the runtime, or sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. So this blue box is the runtime or the NetWeaver gateway. This is the front end server. This is where your application or business logic may or may not lie, but it depends on the architecture that you define. There is an ICF web access. I'm not sure if you're aware of ICF web access. So SAP has been very smart in implementing SAP Ui5. What it is used is, what it has done is It has used its own existing infrastructure and existing services to expose SAP UI5 services and OData and gateway services over the internet. So one of the base services is ICF. I'm not sure if you are even aware of ICF, but ICF was actually developed around 1990s and is still very strong service with which we can expose anything inside of SAP app to the outside world. And also, similarly, SAP has used BSP. Does it say BSP somewhere? No. So SAP has also used BSP. I'm not aware if you are aware of SAP BSP also, but BSP was Business Server Pages. It was supposed to be competing with ASP, Active Server Pages from Microsoft, but it did not gain a lot of attraction or traction as the jargon is to these worlds. But SAP did not let go of the technology as just like that. What they did was they used BSP pages. They have used BSP to create SAP UI5 pages. So right now, inside of BSP, you can use SAP UI5. That's the and that's a part of the German engineering that I admire. That they can still use all of those engineering that they did for creating ICF or creating BSP. I still admire that a lot. SAP is a German company, so just to be sure that you're aware of that. Okay, so with NetWeaver ABAP 7.0, 7.3, and SP4, you would have to have installed. You would have to install gateway components and UI add-ons. So I will show you the gateway components and the UI add-ons later. But in 7.4, they are all inbuilt. You don't really need to worry about them. Here on the left-hand side, you will see the Eclipse IDE. IDE means development environment. Independent development environment IDE. That's what it means. I hope so. Integrated development environment. Integrated development environment. They have been using Eclipse outside, and they have been trying to work on Eclipse, but now they have changed from Eclipse to Web IDE. Web IDE is also based on Eclipse, but it is a lot more stable, and it is only a one-time account creation. I will help you in Web IDE account creation, and we will work on Web IDE also, so that you don't have anything to left out in there. Okay. That's all about the SAP Fiori architecture or UI5 architecture. Any questions that you have? Oops. Any questions on the chat? Okay. I don't see any questions coming up, so I will move further. So a lot of people really confuse SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori. I've actually also worked with a lot of people who have worked in SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori, and still they say they are same or not same. But I just wanted to clear these things up. And I have actually interviewed a few people, and they say that SAP Fiori is way different from SAP UI5, and it's just really pathetic to say that these. But let me clear the doubts here, so that more and more people are aware of what is SAP Fiori and SAP UI5. So SAP UI5 is a framework, a framework of JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. SAP Fiori is a paradigm, is a design paradigm plus the framework that's called the SAP UI5. So SAP Fiori is a bigger set which encompasses SAP UI5. SAP UI5 plus design paradigm is SAP Fiori. So anyone who says SAP UI5 is different from SAP Fiori, I really doubt that guy's depth of knowledge on SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori. If you want to compare SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori with classical SAP terms, then SAP UI5 would be ABAP or WebDen Pro, and SAP Fiori apps would be something like SD or MM or FICO. So inside of SAP Fiori, you will now have FICO, and you will have actually you will not have FICO. You will have only finance, simplified finance. You will have logistics. Actually, logistics is also converted to simplified finance now. But you will have other components inside SAP Fiori. Okay, please get this clear because a lot of people make that mistake in understanding SAP UI5 and SAP Fiori. Any questions in there? Okay. So, oops. Okay. All right. Great. So I guess you don't have any questions, so I'll go further then. All right. Then the development process. SAP Fiori is all the features. Best design paradigm. Yes, sir. You are perfectly correct, Vikram. Any other questions from anyone else? I sometimes speak very fast and talk very fast. So if you guys are not able to understand me, or if you are not able to, I'm sorry, if I am too fast, please let me know. I will try to reduce my speed. And sometimes I also develop some kind of American accent sometimes. If that's also a constraint, let me know. I will try to change my accent. Okay, let's go further. The development process for any SAP UI5 screen or SAP UI5 apps would be to check and install the SAP gateway server, to check if you have really got the SAP gateway server or not. Then you would have to have a gateway, create a local gateway service so that you can test your things on the local computers or local desktop. This is way different from the SAP ABAP paradigm. So earlier what used to happen was, let me open up something in which I can draw something. No, I don't like paint. So let me open this up. Okay. So earlier in the ABAP world, you have the ABAP server, then you have the, let's say, local SAP GUI client, which is always connected to, it's the other way around. Which was always connected to SAP ABAP server. And whenever you coded in here, you were actually coding in the ABAP server. You're actually always coding in the ABAP server. But what happens now is that you have the ABAP server, and then you have the local server, then you have the local developer machine. You don't need GUI anymore. And this is how the flow went from here to the local server. And then if everything was correct, then if everything is correct, then you post this also. Let it be here. Let's go to. Sorry, I'm bad with this new mouse that I got. Yeah. So that's how you code now. So if everything is okay in the local server, you test everything here, and then only you would be pushing it to the ABAP server. Earlier, you always would be connecting to the ABAP server. What is the advantage of this over this, or over this over this? Well, both have their pros and cons. In this, you will always have to be able to connect it to the internet, or to be connected to your SAP world, and only then you would be able to code or create apps. But in this, you will be creating your apps locally first, testing them perfectly fine. If they're good, then you would be sending your code on the ABAP server, or it could also be the HANA server nowadays. That's a paradigm shift from in coding also in the SAP world. Any questions on this? Of course, you don't need SAP GUI also here. So you don't need to install around 80 GBs or something, 80 MBs or 80 GBs, I'm not sure. But you will not have to install any SAP software here on your local computer. But here you had to have your SAP GUI client. Any questions? No? All right, let's go further then. So you would have your local gateway service. So I will explain to you what exactly is gateway all about, and then you would have to, you will now have to create your own SAP Ui5 development environment. You can use WebID, and you can also use your own local machines or local systems. I generally use this Sublime Text to create any of the apps that I want. So if you can see my screen, do I have anything in there? Okay. So I can actually work on anything that I want. Training. So I can use this whole as a script and things like that. I will show you that later. It depends on your taste. What do you want? You want a whole editor, or you can good with Notepad or Notepad plus plus, or whatever you want to choose, you can choose. So you are given the freedom, the liberty of your own IDE, which I really admire, because I really don't really like going into a particular IDE and being stuck with it. So I don't really like Eclipse. I hate it. And I like WebID, and I also like Sublime Text, which I would be using from here on. You would have to, once you have the local gateway service and the SAP Ui5 environment, and you have also created a few of your SAP Ui5 applications, you would be combining both of them into one, and your SAP Ui5 application will be consuming the SAP gateway services. A few of the basic components from SAP Ui5 applications are every web application every web application will have to have an HTML file with it. One HTML file is a basic need for running into a browser. Most of these HTML files are named index.html. So please make sure that you understand this. None of the web applications, no web application can run without having one HTML, at least one HTML file. And that's also the case with the uh, SAP Ui5. So in SAP Ui5 also, you will need at least a single HTML file. And that HTML file is here right now is called index.html, but when we move on to SAP Fiori, that HTML file is called Fiori launchpad.html. This is the first file which would be in while opening up your SAP Ui5 apps. So sorry for that noise. I guess someone joined and the speaker was way away. So let's not worry about that. We after it. Then we have the view files. I have already told you about the model view controller. When we are talking about the model view controller, the model is the data component, and the view is the component which controls the layout. The view files refer to that view component of the application, and the controller, of course, controls the whole flow. You will not find a physical file. When I say physical file, I mean you will find view files like .html, .xml, .json, .js. We will talk about different view files, but try and understand view files do not. View files are physical files. Controller files are also physical files, but models do not have a physical file. Okay, I hope that's clear. So view files and control files, there is not really enough time to go over the view files, so I will mark them for next time. Can I do something here? Comment? Yeah. Cover different view files in class 3. Let's quickly have a look at the software components. These are the different software components that you would need in your system before 7.4. You would need to install GW Core 200, IWFND 250, IWBEP 200. These are before the 7.4. In 7.4, all that you need is SAP Gateway Foundation, which actually comes inbuilt, so you don't really need to install anything. You just need to activate a few services. I'll show you that. And this is how it looks now. So below is the SAP Business Suite. On top of it, the SAP Gateway Foundation, and on top of it is the different apps that you would be developing or you would be working on or implementing. Okay, I've not done the installation of different components. I will be doing it next time, but for right now, this should be enough for starting our second class for right now. Oh, perfect timing. The timing is also 6:29. So, any questions now? Any questions about anything that you have on your mind? Any questions about SAP Ui5, SAP Fiori, or the course, or the course structure, or the duration of the course that you want to talk about right now? When is the course going? Course has already started. This is the second class. Next time we will go deeper and further. I've already started covering the first introduction and things like that, today's and yesterday's session. So I will be sending them to Vijay. He would be forwarding them to you guys. Okay, Vijay, you there? I'm not sure if Vijay is there. So no questions on the course structure. Any website for what? Referral for beginners? Can you send us recording of both class and PPT? Vikram, I will be going through all the websites that are needed during my course. I will show you each and every website which is needed for learning. So don't worry about that. And the recording of both classes and the PPT would be sent to you by Vijay. I've already sent it to Vijay. Vijay, you there? I'm not sure why Vijay is not responding, but probably his laptop is not working correctly right now. Okay, so I guess there are no questions about the course or the content. Okay, so Vijay is here now. Vijay, I don't see any questions coming up. Do you want to talk to the people here, or do you want to have some discussions? Can you come unmute yourself, please? Okay, so Vijay does want to. S means yes. So Vijay is coming. Give him a few seconds, please. In the meantime, I will wrap up my machine. I'll stop sharing now.